Have you ever asked yourself how mankind fell again? Have you ever wondered how after the flood, after the warning, after the mercy, the children of Adam still returned to darkness? Before you listen further, remember something. This is not a lecture. This is not history class. This is your story. You are a child of Adam. This channel belongs to you. These stories belong to you. So stay with me, not as a listener, but as someone remembering a forgotten truth. At the beginning, the holy books speak with one voice. The Bible tells us that after the flood, humanity multiplied again. It warns that the human heart slowly turns away when comfort replaces fear of the Creator. The Torah tells of generations who honored righteous people, but later confused honor with devotion, memory with obedience. The Quran declares clearly that Satan never gave up, that Iblis promised to mislead the children of Adam again and again, that he would come from directions they would not expect. After the great flood, the earth was clean. Mountains stood like witnesses. Rivers flowed like reminders. Every breath carried a warning. Never forget, never return, never disobey again. The descendants of Adam were few. Families lived close. They remembered the flood through stories told at night, through tears, through fear. They prayed directly to the Creator. They knew stone was just stone. They knew wood was just wood. And Iblis watched. He did not rush. He did not attack. He waited. Because Iblis learned something after the flood. Force does not last. Fear fades. But emotion remains. Among the children of Adam lived righteous men. Men whose lives were clean. Whose words softened hearts. Whose presence reminded people of the Creator. When they spoke, people remembered the flood. When they prayed, people felt safe. Then one by one they died. The first death shook the community. The second brought tears. The third brought fear. The fourth brought silence. The people felt empty. The nights felt colder. The guidance felt gone. And this is where Iblis returned. Not as an enemy, but as a comforter. He whispered, "Do not forget them. Remember their goodness. Let your children know who guided you." A simple idea, an emotional idea, make something to remember them. So stones were shaped, wood was carved, figures were placed where people gathered. Not for worship, never for worship, only for memory. The people said, "We will not bow, we will not pray. This is only remembrance." And Iblis smiled. Years passed. Those who made the figures died. Children grew up seeing them, but never heard the warning. The figures became familiar, comforting, silent witnesses. 1 year drought came. A man stood near a figure and cried, not to the stone, but to the memory. Another year illness spread. A woman touched the carved shape and begged, not believing it had power, but hoping. Slowly, without announcement, without rebellion, the heart changed. Iblis did not say worship. He let emotion do the work. This was his greatest comeback. The Quran later revealed their names. Righteous men remembered, then revered, then worshipped. This is how idol worship returned. Not through denial of the Creator, but through addition. And this addition poisoned faith. The Bible warns that images replace obedience. The Torah warns that memory without law becomes corruption. The Quran warns that Satan beautifies actions until falsehood feels right. By the end of this generation, people still spoke of the Creator. But they now stood before figures, asking for help, for rain, for protection. The Creator was remembered, but no longer trusted alone. This was the wound that reopened. And humanity did not realize it. At the same time, people began spreading across the earth. Small communities grew into settlements. Settlements into cities. In fertile lands, people built homes. They built walls. They built symbols. Memory turned into tradition. Tradition into ritual. Iblis watched humanity build its own chains. The flood had washed the earth, but not the human heart, and the stage was set for nations, for civilizations, for power, and for a darkness that would spread quietly across the world. The return of idol worship did not stop at one land. It moved with the children of Adam as they spread across the earth. People traveled for water, for land, for safety, and wherever they settled, they carried memory, and memory carried distortion. Iblis no longer needed to whisper. The system was now alive. In the fertile lands between great rivers, communities grew strong, crops were abundant, cities were born. In Mesopotamia people looked at the sky. They saw stars move with precision. They believed power lived above, and they carved that power below. Statues rose, temples formed, each idol assigned a role. Rain, war, fertility, protection. People said, the Creator is too great, too distant. These will bring us closer. This lie spread like comfort. In the land of the Nile, floods brought life every year. People feared and loved the river. Kings claimed divine blood. Statues filled halls. The living bowed to stone. The dead were buried with idols. Fear became worship. Worship became control. In the Indus lands people turned ritual into routine. Symbols replaced meaning. Hands moved, but hearts slept. In the East ancestors were remembered, then feared, then obeyed, until memory became authority. Every civilization followed the same pattern. First gratitude, then reverence, then surrender. Iblis' strategy was never chaos. It was structure. He turned religion into institution, faith into economy, worship into hierarchy. Priests guarded temples, kings guarded idols. People guarded tradition, and truth was locked away. The Quran later revealed that Satan promised to mislead through false beauty, through systems that feel right, through paths that look ancient. The Bible shows prophets rising again and again, breaking idols, calling people back. The Torah records laws sent to shatter images, to destroy symbols, to free the heart, but the grip was strong. Because idol worship was no longer belief. It was identity. To question idols meant to question society, family, power. People were not worshipping stone. They were worshipping stability. Iblis understood fear better than anyone, and he used it. As cities expanded, trade began. Idols traveled with merchants. Beliefs crossed borders. Names changed. Forms changed. But the lie stayed the same. The Creator alone is not enough. This was the poison. By this time humanity was deeply divided. Languages changed. Cultures separated. But deception united them. The children of Adam forgot why the flood came. Forgot why prophets warned. Forgot why the Creator demanded devotion alone. And the earth filled again. Not with water, but with idols. And Iblis remained unseen, satisfied, patient, waiting, because his greatest victory was not disbelief. It was misplaced belief. By the time humanity filled the earth again, idol worship was no longer questioned. It was normal. It was inherited. It was defended. Children were born into systems already built. They did not choose idols. They were raised by them. Civilizations reached their peak. Stone cities, great walls, massive temples, power gathered in few hands. Kings ruled by divine claim. Priests ruled by fear. People obeyed by tradition. The Quran tells us that Satan said, I will take a portion of your servants. Not all, just enough. The Bible shows how truth survived only through messengers. Voices crying in crowded cities, calling people back to the unseen Creator. The Torah shows commandments sent again, clear, strong, uncompromising. But idol worship had become comfortable. It explained fear. It explained loss. It gave people something to touch. The Creator was unseen. Idols were visible. This was the final trick. In every land the same story. Repeated. When famine came people ran to idols. When war came people sacrificed to idols. When power was threatened leaders protected idols. Stone ruled over hearts. And then something deeper happened. People stopped asking questions. Why do we bow? Why do we fear? Why do we obey? The children of Adam forgot that the flood came because of forgetting. Iblis did not need to speak anymore. Humanity spoke for him. Anyone who questioned idols was silenced, mocked, removed. Truth became rebellion. And still prophets came. They broke idols. They called out kings. They reminded people, you were created free. You were created to bow to the Creator alone. Some listened. Most resisted. Because idols were no longer gods. They were systems, economy, power, control, identity. And then centuries passed. Idols changed shape. Stone became symbols. Symbols became ideas. The names changed. But devotion stayed. Power replaced stone. Desire replaced temples. Ego replaced statues. And Iblis smiled again. Because his comeback never ended. And now, here you are, listening to this story, feeling something familiar. Because this is not ancient only. This is present. You are a child of Adam. Walking the same earth. Facing the same test. Who do you bow to? Who do you trust? What do you fear? If this story touched you, if it felt personal, it is because it is. This channel is not mine. It is yours. This journey is your journey. From Adam until now. Stay with this channel. Walk this path. Remember who you are. Because once the children of Adam remember, no idol can stand.